In this lecture, we are going to answer the question, what do privacy professionals do? As with the previous lecture, if you have already taken my CIPM course, then this lecture is the same as the one that you found in that introduction. If not, and this is your first time learning about what privacy professionals do, then let's go on. We're going to look at the different roles that privacy professionals carry out, as well as different responsibilities. And with regards to responsibilities, we're going to look at three major responsibilities, which are risk management, compliance, and training, awareness, and outreach. So privacy professionals carry out a number of different roles. These include lawyer/attorney advisor, consultant, analyst, data protection officer. Privacy professionals are engaged in governance, risk, and compliance, or GRC. They can also be privacy engineers or software engineers. Privacy and cybersecurity overlap quite a bit, and so sometimes you have dual-hatted individuals that do both cybersecurity and privacy. And common titles for privacy professionals within senior leadership include a chief privacy officer, chief information officer, and chief data officer. With regards to responsibilities, privacy professionals are responsible for understanding and advising on legal and regulatory obligations. A privacy professional needs to understand how data flows through an organization, and then at every step, collection, processing, storage, maintenance, disposition, etc., the privacy professional is going to be familiar with each of those different stages and make sure that the appropriate protections are applied. Privacy is an interdisciplinary function, meaning that privacy folks are going to be working with their cybersecurity counterparts, their IT counterparts, their artificial intelligence counterparts, their software engineering counterparts, and with all of those individuals appropriately governing the data that flows through their organization. Examples of protections include access controls, encryption, and procuring and implementing emerging technologies. These are all issues that we're going to come back to throughout the course. And so if you're feeling a little uncomfortable or a little unfamiliar with some of this terminology, hold on for a little bit because we're going to go into all of this in detail. Three other responsibilities that often make up the lion's share of a privacy professional's day-to-day work include risk management, compliance, and training, awareness, and outreach. And we're going to talk about each of those three right now. What is risk management? Well, again, this is going to be the topic of many lectures that are coming up throughout the course. But in short, risk management is the identification, assessment, and mitigation of harm. A risk, for now, we can understand as a potential harm, and a threat as something that delivers that harm. Two very quick examples, one everyday, one privacy specific. An everyday example is a car accident. And so when you get into a car, either as a driver or a passenger, we assume that there's a risk of bodily injury. We help to mitigate or control that risk by putting on our seatbelt, obeying traffic laws, and maintaining our car. By doing these different things, by implementing these controls, we lower the risk that we will be hurt in a car accident. For a privacy-specific example, I want you to think about a bank. Now, all of the personally identifiable information that a bank collects is a liability, is a risk for that organization. If the bank were to suffer a data breach, and that personal information is leaked onto the web, then that creates liability for the organization, legal liability, and reputational liability, just to name two. And so when any organization, such as a bank, is collecting information, they want to limit the amount of information they collect. Ideally, they should only be collecting what they need to carry out the business function. For example, they're going to need some information that's on your driver's license, where you live, what your name is, email address, etc. But do they really need data like your mother's maiden name, for example? And so this is another example of how some organizations, such as banks, might mitigate risk. Don't overcollect, otherwise, you may be subject to a financial penalty from regulators, or if that information were to be breached, then potentially the subject of a class action lawsuit. A second activity that takes up a lot of privacy professionals' time is compliance. Compliance is fulfilling the legal and regulatory requirements concerning the protection of personally identifiable information and fulfilling or responding to the rights of data subjects. As part of compliance work, privacy professionals are producing artifacts or evidence that demonstrate compliance. Examples of different compliance artifacts or documents include privacy impact assessments, data transfer impact assessments, data subject access requests, data breach response, reporting and notification, and assisting in complying with security and privacy audits. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about all of these different artifacts. So if you're interested in learning more, we'll get to this throughout the course. Finally, privacy professionals spend a lot of time with training, awareness, and outreach. Now, training and awareness have different meanings, as we will see. Training is specialized instruction, and we train individuals such as our workforce in order to develop them and make sure that they have the skills and knowledge necessary to carry out their work responsibilities. Awareness, in contrast, is many education campaigns. We would train the privacy workforce with specialized training, but the entire organization is likely to receive awareness. Examples of awareness topics are: what is PII, how to handle PII, and what are the organization's legal and regulatory obligations at a very high level. In addition to training and awareness, privacy professionals are also involved in data governance and community building. In this lecture, we answered the questions, what do privacy professionals do? Privacy professionals play a number of different roles throughout different organizations. These include serving as a lawyer or attorney advisor, a consultant, an analyst, a data protection officer, carrying out governance, risk, and compliance, or GRC. They can also be privacy engineers or software engineers. They can play a role in cybersecurity, and they can also serve as chief privacy officers, chief information officers, or chief data officers. General responsibilities include understanding and advising on legal and regulatory landscape and obligations, and working cross-functionally to fulfill business needs. Finally, the three main activities that take up the lion's share of privacy professionals' time are risk management, compliance, and training, awareness, and outreach.